I don't know about you, but these days it feels like the world and our lives are moving at hyperspeed. The all-new Nissan Murano is an unapologetic refuge amidst the hustle and bustle. In the Nissan Murano, you can take a beat, catch your breath, and re-energize. With its elevated modern interior and bold new exterior, this vehicle stands out. Its massaging leather-appointed seats melt away the tension of a busy day, adds to that feeling of refuge. Optional features like panoramic moonroof that adds tons of natural light to its roomy cabin, and ambient lighting sets the right vibe. So crucial in dreary winter days. The Bose premium sound system helps you escape further into your favorite music. The Nissan Murano and all its features gives you the greatest rush, while not feeling like you're rushing at all. Find your moment of calm in the all-new Nissan Murano. Drive the all-new 2025 Nissan Murano today. Features listed or available upgrades.
This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, wherever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance? No problem. Now get $80 off of your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
Welcome to this edition of the Awakening Women podcast. In this episode, we're chatting about how successful, high-achieving women lose self-confidence when they're experiencing narcissistic abuse. Now, if you've taken my Relationship Clarity Bootcamp, where I talk about the myths around the types of women that end up in narcissistic relationships, it's actually very common for successful, high-achieving, smart, educated women, therapist types, helper types, to end up in these relationships. And I recently did a poll on my Instagram asking my followers how many of them are successful therapists but find themselves in these types of relationship patterns. And I actually was astounded by how many of you are actually in that boat and in that, you fall into that. And so, as you know, if you've been following here long enough, you know that that is my training. I'm a former counselor, registered professional counselor, but I moved out of that particular line of work to expand into what it is that I really want to be doing, because I found the practice of just one-on-one therapy, hourly sessions, while I was, not to toot my own horn, but I was really good at what I did, and I helped my clients to achieve really powerful results, and I was very successful doing that work. I eventually wanted to expand and move my business online, working virtually and working with women all over the world. So I work with women globally, everywhere. So I have learned that it's very common to be a successful, high-achieving woman. You have so much to offer and so many gifts. But yet, when it comes to your relationship life, you tend to settle for bullshit and scraps and absolute nonsense, intolerable stuff. And why is that, right? And I think there's lots of things. I could go off into lots of conversations around why would these types of women end up in these soul-crushing relationships. But I think it's because, well, there's a few things, and I cover them in the boot camp. If you have not taken that boot camp, it's $33. You get 90 minutes with me, mind-blowing mindset shifts. If you have not done that, what are you waiting for? Invest in yourself, take the next step with me, and you'll have your mind blown in that series, because I go really deep. It's not surface, but we go into the levels of awakening to getting to clarity and conviction about leaving, and the types of women that end up in these relationships. And they're oftentimes, from my experience, high-achieving women and successful women. And so I think to go back to why is that, I think we are tenacious. We don't give up very easily. We're used to taking on the world and thinking we can just fix everything and everyone, and we can take on everything and figure it out ourselves. We have no problem until we wake up taking on everyone else's stuff, trying to help everyone else without actually helping ourselves. If you are in the helping industry as a therapist or another type of helper, you might believe that, you believe in the power of personal growth and that people can change and that people can heal and that we're all capable of change, especially if you have done a lot of work on yourself. And while that's true, you're putting that on the wrong person, because if you are with someone like this, they're not interested in changing. And so what you find is you start off as a confident woman, or maybe you never actually tapped into that full potential. If you have spent most of your adult life in and out of these relationships, or maybe you've been in the same one, so you have lost that confidence. You don't recognize that it's actually there and that there is so much more for you to tap into. You see it at work. You're good at what you do. A lot of women that come into my world have careers. They're doctors, they're psychologists, they're counselors. They go on to write books. They go on to start businesses. I've worked with lots of different professional women and women who are in high-level career positions, but yet their self-confidence is just pretty much non-existent when it comes to relationships and love. And then it does spill over into work, because then they are less likely to speak up and ask for what they want at work, to ask for a raise, to speak up and request more at work, or to step into their next level of leadership. If you are a business owner, you have your own practice or counseling practice, you're going to be less likely to own your prices and charge what it is you want to charge, and feel like you have a cap on what it is that you can earn for your gifts and your services. So it does spill out into all areas of life when you're in one of these relationships. Not only that, but have you ever tried getting up and going to work, or going to meetings, or leading a Zoom call, or leading a class or a training, or getting on with clients when you just finished having a fight with your mate, your spouse, on the way out the door? Or maybe you were up all night or half the night really late fighting in those circular, crazy making, nonsensical conversations. And so you woke up with a hangover, not feeling good, and you have to try and gain that mental clarity, but you're just not able to focus. If you are resonating with this, you're not alone, because it is very difficult to show up in your fullest power, at your fullest potential, when you're in one of these relationships, because it takes so much of your mental energy. And I shouldn't say it takes, you give a lot of your mental energy away. You have no boundaries. If you are doing all of the work trying to improve the relationship, fix him, make him see the error of his ways, while he's doing nothing but only creating more destruction, this is a boundary issue on your part, 100%. So it's really important for high-achieving women and successful women, career women, to understand where they are leaking their power, where they're giving their power away, where they're not setting boundaries with themselves. Sometimes boundaries aren't about setting them with other people. If we're finding we're having difficulty in our relationships, and here I talk about love relationships, but 9 times out of 10, if not 10 out of 10, when I'm working with women, they realize that this ripples out into all areas of life in other relationships. Okay, when we start waking up, we realize, oh, we have a narcissistic father or a narcissistic sister. Our friends are all selfish and the relationships are one-sided and they're actually backstabbing now that we're trying to make our way out of the relationship. Look who's actually not on my side. So as you start waking up and getting healthier, you see all of these things and you just realize you don't want any part of it. It's understanding that sometimes the issues aren't about setting them with someone else. It's about setting boundaries with yourself and honoring yourself. This is the ultimate act of self-care and self-love, to say, I am no longer going to pour my gifts and my love and my energy and my time and my life force energy into a dead-end relationship. I'm going to stop watering this dead plant this dead house plant that's shriveling up and dying, but I keep putting water in it and I just keep making the roots soggy and the roots are rotting and the plant has no hope. But here I am, I'm still trying to water this thing. I'm a plant lover, so that analogy works for me. But it's also, yes, it's about setting the boundaries with other people, definitely. But again, it's about having those energetic, emotional, and psychological, mental boundaries within ourselves. So let's dive into 5 ways that successful women lose their confidence when they're in a narcissistic, abusive relationship. The first is the gaslighting that's going on. So even though you are smart, even though you may be questioning that because they have a way of making you question your own intellect and your own abilities and your own success, they are constantly gaslighting and making you think that you are the problem. And they're minimizing what it is that they are doing to make you question your own perception, your own reality. And this is going on all the time. It comes out in ways when you try to address their behavior. It comes back with, I didn't mean it that way. What are you talking about? That didn't happen. That wasn't my intention, that kind of stuff. Now, this, when you are a smart, self-aware woman, you're like, yeah, okay, maybe they didn't mean it like that, but it's happening like every day or multiple times a day where something hurtful and absolute shit behavior is coming out that they didn't mean that way and you're getting it wrong all of these times. No. So to me, that response right there is the toxicity right there. Because a self-aware person is not going to be making jokes at your expense, making fun of you, cutting you down, belittling you, and then calling it a joke and saying, you're so sensitive, you're just looking for problems. I didn't mean it that way. And it seems as though you're always just trying to start a fight. And so you're constantly whirling those interactions around in your head. And that makes it so that you can't focus at work. You can't remember what's going on with your kids at school and what meetings you need to be at school, or what your kid needs for school that day. You'll find things are slipping your mind as much as you do your best to be organized and your kids mean everything to you. You will find things just slipping through the cracks, and that just adds to your sense of not good enough, that you're failing in some way. And the gaslighting erodes that sense of self-confidence. Number 2 is that they're threatened by your independence, so they'll downplay your success. They'll take credit for your accomplishments.
I don't know about you, but these days it feels like the world and our lives are moving at hyperspeed. The all-new Nissan Murano is an unapologetic refuge amidst the hustle and bustle. In the Nissan Murano, you can take a beat, catch your breath, and re-energize. With its elevated modern interior and bold new exterior, this vehicle stands out. Its massaging leather-appointed seats melt away the tension of a busy day, adds to that feeling of refuge. Optional features like panoramic moonroof that adds tons of natural light to its roomy cabin, and ambient lighting sets the right vibe. So crucial in dreary winter days. The Bose premium sound system helps you escape further into your favorite music. The Nissan Murano and all its features gives you the greatest rush, while not feeling like you're rushing at all. Find your moment of calm in the all-new Nissan Murano. Drive the all-new 2025 Nissan Murano today. Features listed or available upgrades.
This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, wherever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance? No problem. Now get $80 off of your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
Accomplishments. And they do this by cutting down things that you do well, And they might minimize, like, oh, is that really actually helping? Or do you really need to be doing that? Or, is that course that you're taking really going to help you? Like, why do you need that? That kind of stuff. And they'll downplay your success and take credit like, well, you would never have gotten there without me. And they will also try to blame you for why they have lost out, quote unquote, or are not as successful or have not been successful in the same areas, because somehow it's actually your fault because you have done something to ruin their chances of being successful in some way. They're in debt because of you, or they weren't able to excel in their career because of you. They will downplay your success, take credit for your accomplishments, and they will cut down and try to undermine your independence. So look at where that is happening. Ultimately, you want to have a partner in life that encourages your independence, even though they're there for you if you need it, who encourages your success. They're not going to try and take credit for the things that you have accomplished. And they're not going to blame you for things that they have not accomplished. That's ick, right? That should go both ways. So if you have a partner that's threatened by your independence, by your intelligence, by your confidence, by your success, they're going to do things to try and cut that down and cut you down and make you feel small. And so that's what happens. You start to feel that way and you start to question. I've coached women who don't go after what they want in their careers because they've been beaten down so much in these relationships. And so it's overcoming that to be able to reach for more and recognize that you've given your power away to this person to shrink you, right? There's all this talk about, oh, they shrink you, they do this, they do that. They do things, you do things in response. This is where what I teach is different, and this is not about victim blaming. It's about taking accountability, okay? You have allowed yourself to be gaslit, yes, because you have not been able to stand in your power and say no. If you are someone that maybe had not experienced that kind of thing growing up with a parent, and you had a secure sense of attachment in life, that kind of stuff in a relationship would repel you so quick, you would be spinning around and heading out the door at the first sign of gaslighting. So while we can't blame ourselves, we have to take responsibility and heal that, okay? And you also have to take responsibility for where you have shrunk yourself in response to their belittling, their berating, their constant jabs. Where have you allowed that to make you small and to shrink yourself? And how can you step in to your expansion? And I know that might seem impossible because then it's like, well, what will they do? What will they say? That's part of it. You have to stop caring about all of that. Number 3, they criticize you and they cut you down. So they're going to criticize how you do most things to the point where you think that you have no value to give, that you don't know what you're doing, that you must not be able to do anything right. And so this undermines your sense of self-confidence in what it is that you know. And critical people are annoying. I think we can all be critical. We can all say things. But when it's happening all the time, every day, it's draining to be around someone like that. And it does make you start to question yourself. Number 4, when you're up, they're dragging you down. And then when you're feeling down after they have berated you, criticized you, cut you down, gaslit, then they will suddenly act cheery and happy and in a good mood and then look down on you as to, well, what's wrong with you? Why are you so miserable? Not recognizing that it's from their behavior that you're feeling upset, right? And so that can erode your sense of self-confidence where you're like, well, yeah, maybe I am always miserable. He's in a good mood. And when you are in a good mood, say you've accomplished something, you got a promotion at work, you had a good day, your meeting went well, you signed on a new client, you reached a revenue goal, you got something that was really exciting to you and really...
I don't know about you, but these days it feels like the world and our lives are moving at hyperspeed. The all-new Nissan Murano is an unapologetic refuge amidst the hustle and bustle. In the Nissan Murano, you can take a beat, catch your breath, and re-energize. With its elevated modern interior and bold new exterior, this vehicle stands out. Its massaging leather-appointed seats melt away the tension of a busy day, adds to that feeling of refuge. Optional features like panoramic moonroof that adds tons of natural light to its roomy cabin, and ambient lighting sets the right vibe. So crucial in dreary winter days. The Bose premium sound system helps you escape further into your favorite music. The Nissan Murano and all its features gives you the greatest rush, while not feeling like you're rushing at all. Find your moment of calm in the all-new Nissan Murano. Drive the all-new 2025 Nissan Murano today. Features listed or available upgrades.
This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, wherever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance? No problem. Now get $80 off of your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
It made you feel accomplished, and then they find a way to cut you down. Like, oh, well, I make more, or you wouldn't have got that without me, or whatever. And so they find a way to cut you down when you're up and bring you down. You'll notice this. And then when you are feeling down, they're acting like everything's fine. They're acting cheery. It's really weird. But this starts to undermine your sense of self-confidence, because you're like, what the hell? Like, why is it that we're always on the opposite wavelength, and somehow it is always my fault that I'm doing something wrong. I'm not seeing this right. I shouldn't be feeling up about this, because you're right, it wasn't really that big of an accomplishment. And you start going down that spiral. And that is going to erode any successful woman's self-confidence. And then number 5, they will talk about other women in ways that you're kind of like, why are you doing that? So they might come back from the gym and say, yeah, there's this woman at the gym that's just always got her breasts out of her shirt all the time. And I'm talking to her and I'm trying not to look, that kind of stuff. Like, they'll make comments about other women, and that is to erode your self-confidence in yourself. And then when you bring it up and you say something about it, they'll gaslight you and tell you you're insecure, that that's ridiculous, that they should be allowed to look. And why are you so, it's you're insecure. And yet at the same time, if you were to do that to them, you know how that would go. If you started talking about some hot guy at the gym's muscles, or how hot that guy is over there, how ripped, they wouldn't like it, right? But you probably don't do that. And if you did, it wouldn't go well. So that also erodes your sense of self-confidence. Even when you are attractive and you are, and you feel attractive, and you take care of yourself, and you dress well and do your hair and your makeup, and you exercise and you do self-care and all the things to take care of yourself, and you have this jackass that's saying shit like that to cut you down. And that, my take on that is that they want to make sure that you don't think too highly of yourself, so you don't leave. And it works. So women stay because they think, oh, maybe I am not that hot, or not that beautiful, or no one else would want me, or I am lucky to have him because he puts up with me and no one else would find me attractive. And you start to believe that, and so you stay. So those are 5 biggies, 5 big reasons why successful women lose self-confidence when they're experiencing narcissistic abuse. And it is very debilitating no matter how much success that you have had in your life and how good you are at work and the accomplishments that you have had and all of that. You may very well be driven and high achieving and a go-getter at work. But then when it comes to relationships, all of that goes out the door and you wonder, why can't I even set a boundary with this dude that's driving me insane? Why can't I walk away and leave this situation that is horrible, that makes me feel like I'm living in a double reality? I have my one world over here and my world here with this person that I'm starting to hate. 95% of the time, it's absolute shit. And yet, here I am, I'm not able to just walk away. And that right there erodes your self-confidence. It's this feeling of, why can't I get this right when I'm doing so well in all these other areas, even though you might start to see those other areas begin to decline because the relationship eventually infiltrates your whole entire life. It's like a poison, and then your health starts to fail, your mental health starts to fail. You might see a decline in your business or your career because you're not able to show up with clarity. You're too distracted by what's going on. And then that erodes your self-confidence because then you're like, well, I'm not good enough because now I'm failing over here where I felt like I actually was good. So it just becomes this vicious cycle that you have to break. So if you're ready to do that, come into End the Cycle. That's my 30-day boot camp to help you really know what your next steps are in this, how to decide if you're going to stay or leave, the work you need to do to come to that decision, the boundaries, needs, and ultimatums that you need to define, and really understand what it is that you're experiencing so you can start taking some empowered steps forward. The link is in the show notes if you'd like to get started today. And I hope that this has given you some insights that you can apply into your life and create a breakthrough for yourself. All right, take care. Bye for now. I had one more afterthought as I stopped recording, back to where they cut you down and criticize you with things that you do. A lot of times it's happening in areas that you're actually very good and skilled. So they might cut down your parenting, for instance, how you mother. When you take pride in that and it's a high value of yours, it's a high priority of yours to be a good mother, and you know you are, that's where they will cut you down, or they'll cut down the areas that you actually are talented. So you start to question those very areas and think that you're actually not good at anything. So I just wanted to add that in because I think that's really important to have a look and just pay attention to where that's showing up and how that's impacting your sense of self.